Alright, so I'm back, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Transformers Generations Jhiaxus. He doesn't have the comic book, so the package is really plain. And I know everybody else has already reviewed these guys, but I'm getting to them now. Nothing really to show off here. Back is, it says about who the character is and tech specs stuff. Yay. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's like this in comparison to this. There's so much more going on. It's like I like the comic books and all, but it just makes me want to start reading those comics, and I'm so far behind. It's going to take me a long time to catch up to those. So let's take a look at Jhiaxus here. He is a retool of the Armada Starscream mold, which I never had, actually. So, I think it works really well for him, but that's because I never had the Starscream Armada guy. I had the original Armada Starscreams, but not this Generations version of the mold, or of newness. I'll stop talking now. Anyway, I think it works really well for Jhiaxus. I always, remember Jhiaxus from G2, so I always imagined he needed to be bigger, so I would have liked to see him a lot bigger than this, but it works. It works, I guess. What are you doing here? There you go. It's a cool little figure. I do dig it. He's got 2 pistols that just plug into his hands. They're identical to each other. They're actually pretty cool. I wish I could actually just buy a pack of these and give them to characters like Dragstrip here. See, that would look awesome in his hand. I would really dig that. Anyway. That's it all for his accessories. He does have shoulder cannons. You can take this whole assembly here and fold this up, and then you can just push on this clear piece back here, and it will fire a missile. They're just pressure launcher missiles. So you can just fire those, and then you can take them and plug them back in. Oh, and it went behind the thing. It's gone forever. That's why I don't like missiles. It's gone forever. My station here is permanently affixed to the wall. I can't move it. It's behind the wall now. It's gone. Anyway. Posability. His head is on a ball joint. Gets a little bit of side-to-side rocker here. Looks around. Due to the chest cavity, it can pull up a little bit more. Kind of breaks up the motif here, but it's actually not that bad. Shoulders can swivel up and down, in and out. There's a bicep swivel. He bends at the elbow. Really, dude? So he bends at the elbow. Not a full bend, but a decent one. Bends further backwards. Hand it can kind of go in and out due to transformation. Let's see if we can get this arm back on here. There we go. Nothing at the waist due to transformation. Hips are on ball joints, so up, down, in, out. Swivels at the thigh, bends at the knee. Foot does have a little bit of a tilt in it due to transformation, but it still works for posability. His feet do have cuts in them, so that he does need to do a little bit more of a wider stance. But yeah, all in all, he's a pretty solid little jet thing. To transform him, I haven't done this in a while, so I hope I do it right. Fold this piece up, and then you can fold the nose cone up. Flip the head down. Fold the wings up, like so. This assembly will come back. There's a little peg right here. That'll plug into that hole right there. So just plug that in. Fold the heel spurs up, I believe. Let me just see here. Yeah. This will just come up like so. Rotate, comes in. And then there's little clips here on each side. 2 on this side, 3 on this side. And you just kind of push them together. Like so. Flip the hands in. And then these will come up and straight back like so. And there's a little tab here that'll plug in that slot right there. So just plug those in. Plug those in. Like so. And there you have his jet mode completed. Not too hard. I was having difficulties because I haven't done it in a while, but I figured it out. And then you could just plug the guns in under his wings. Which works, works pretty well. And yeah, there you go. He's got landing gear that will fold down here. Come on. There you go. Just move the whole nose cone down, and then the landing gear will come out. He's got some back here. Right there. I do appreciate they painted the wheels. That's one of those little details that Hasbro usually misses. And yeah, I think he works. I do wish these were G2 Decepticon logos. Even though he was actually never a Decepticon in the original comic books. He was a Cybertronian that had fled the war and was leading a whole new group of Cybertronians in a new war against Autobots and Decepticons, and Optimus and Megatron had to team up to stop him. Little history lesson there. And that's one of the main reasons why I always liked Jhiaxus, is because he was the leader of a third faction. It was new, it was fresh, it wasn't Megatron Optimus, or Galvatron Rodimus. There's always Autobots versus Decepticons, Maximals versus Predacons. I kind of like throwing a third faction in there just for shits and giggles. But that's just me. Anyway, to transform him back, fold up the landing gear, pull the arms out, unpeg the legs from each other, and these will just fold down, like so. Take this whole assembly here, and it just folds up, and then you can take the nose cone, and it just folds down, and it kind of slightly pegs into place on his crotch. Foot comes down, heel spur comes out, foot comes down, heel spur comes out. There we go. Flip out the hands. Head already revealed itself. Wings are already in the position that they need to be in. Pull off the guns. Plug those into his hands. And there you go. And yeah, he's cool. I do dig him. Like I said, I do wish he was a little bit bigger. Maybe a little bit more waist here. I would say, well, they're just being cartoon accurate, or comic book accurate. Well, the comic book was designed to sell this toy. I mean, they based his comic book design knowing that they're going to have a toy reuse of the Starscream mold, so it doesn't count. Yeah, But it makes sense that they use this mold because in the original one, he did look like a modified Seeker. So it makes sense that they would utilize Starscream's body because he's the Seeker. Here he is next to the classic Seeker mold. You can see he's about the same height as a classic Seeker. I say completely off screen. There we go. So yeah, they're about the same height here. Here he is with the Starscream. He scales better with this, with regular classics, as opposed to larger classics. And here he is next to MP Carr and Springer. Again, he works well with the Springer mold because Springer is supposed to be a larger character. He doesn't work very well with the MPs because he's not a masterpiece figure. So, all in all, I do like the figure. He's really good. I recommend picking him up if you are in one of three categories. If you're a completist and you just have to have everything, then yes, get him. If you are a fan of the G2 comic books and G2 in general, and you remember Jhiaxus from back then, like myself, pick him up because this is really the second Jhiaxus we got. The first one was just a repaint of the Beast Machine's Jetstorm figure, and that was and really hard to come by too. And 3, if you're a fan of the current comic books, which is where he comes from. So if you're one of those people, then yes, pick him up. If you're a casual collector, then this is not going to be for you because he doesn't represent any major character in anything. He's just kind of there. So yeah, I won't sit here and say he's the next greatest thing in the world, but yeah, if you're a fan of the comics, either one, and you're a completist, then yes, I would recommend picking him up. With that being said, I'll give him a 7 out of 10. I think he's pretty solid. He's not as good as he could have been, but utilizing the Starscream mold, I think they did the best they could. And it's also kind of refreshing that Starscream mold hasn't been repainted into Thundercracker and Skywarp yet. Because that, it's like, yes, that's what they're supposed to be doing, but, it's kind of refreshing, like I said, to see different take on characters from that mold as opposed to just straight repaints all the time. Because we just did that with the War for Cybertron Starscream, or Fall Cybertron Starscream that came out. And the Seeker molds. Every Seeker mold ever. Anyway, like I said, it's just kind of refreshing to have something different come out of it. And if you were to buy a Starscream and swap the heads out, take his head off and put Starscream's head on, then you can kind of call this a Cybertronian Sunstorm. Because he is orange like Sunstorm. So, anyway, pretty cool figure. I do like him. Not for everybody. So, I'm done. I'm done rambling now.